is. Hello, class. Welcome to Read Aloud with Mr. Corcoran. This is the sequel to Read Aloud last time. This is issue 235 of The Amazing Spider-Man, published in 1982 when I was in fourth grade. Issue 235, Monsters, featuring the origin of Will-o'-the-Wisp, plus the deadly new tarantula. Look out! There's a monster coming, starring the Amazing Spider-Man. There's something rotten at the Brand Corporation. Hoping to find out what, Spider-Man came here to Brand's Jamaica, Queens research center to do a little snooping. Here he found Brand scientists trying to give the villainous tarantula powers much like his own. Naturally, Spider-Man stopped in to stop them. But then, the mysterious man known as Will-o'-the-Wisp entered the scene, disrupted everything, particularly the tarantula. Roger Stern wrote the story. John Romita Jr. and Frank Giacoia were the artists. Diana Albers is the letterer. Glenn S. Wayne is the colorist. Tom DeFalco edited this, and Jim Shooter is the boss man, just like me. And then Stan Lee is the presenter emeritus. Do me a favor and sit this out, Wisp. You've done enough harm already. More than enough. I doubt the tarantula would have turned this Fright Night reject into if you hadn't mucked with the machinery. No reply. I guess Wispy's still zonked from the zapping the Brand boys gave him. Just as well. I'd have my hands full if I had to handle him and Tarantula. Spider-Man, I will kill you for what you've done to me. Oh, fine. He blames me. Figures. Uh-oh. There's that buzzing in my head again. Either I'm getting a migraine, or my spider sense is warning me of danger. Crack! Wow. That treatment made Tarantula more than just ugly. He's now as strong as I am. I wonder if he has spider sense, too. Only one way to find out. And that's to go on the offensive. Hey, big and ugly. Come on down and get me. I dares ya. Muy bueno. We shall settle this hand to hand. Hand to hand? Hey, is that fair? You have a distinct advantage in the limbs department. All I have as an equalizer is my webbing and a few 100 pounds of debris. Boonk! You have mocked me for the last time, Spider-Man. The last time! Choom! I will crush you like... Eh? Where's he gone? Well, I guess that pretty well establishes a lack of spider sense. Otherwise, Tarantula would have sensed me up here. Still, those big eyes of his will probably spot me unless I come in from high and behind him. Not exactly sporting, but this is no game. Gah! Meanwhile, high above the theater of combat, Mr. Melvin, look! The Wisp is dazed from that magnopulsar you used on him. I have eyes, Fenton. Come on. I want him under lock and key. I was after last issue. Sir, this may sound strange, but there's something almost familiar about him. Don't be absurd, Fenton. This creature is obviously an agent of one of our competitors. If we can create super operatives, certainly some of them can as well. Mr. Melvin? Unhand me! Transforming himself into a ball of glowing molecular particles, the reviving Will-o'-the-Wisp breaks away from his would-be captors and enters the battle below. Okay? Get back, Spider-Man. I shall snuff out this foul Brand creation. Snuff out? Hold on there, Wispy. Tarantula may be lower than a worm's belly, but that doesn't give you the right to play exterminator. Let's say we handle this my way. Idiota! You cannot hobble the tarantula like this. I still have enough power to destroy your friend. I doubt that, monster. None can match the speed of Will-o'-the-Wisp. Ah! That blow should have dropped him. Now will you listen to me, Wisp? The tarantula is in my strength division. It may take both of us to... Hey, look out. Watch what you're doing or you two will... Boom! Break something. Oh, no. They dislodged the whole bank of electronic systems. Those guards I knocked out earlier will be crushed if I don't. That was last issue again. Oof! Got it. Or has it got me? This thing must outweigh a Cadillac limo by a couple of tons. If I don't ditch this fast, I'll be one flattened out Spider-Man. Using his amazing clinging ability to root his feet firmly in place, the youthful adventurer shifts his weight for just an instant to brace himself. And then, calling upon every bit of strength at his command, he hurls the massive wall of electronics away from the helpless men on the floor. Meanwhile, Tarantula and the Wisp have already fought their way through another 3 walls and out of the building. Oh my god! What's that? Command Center, this is Carson and Thorpe. That Wisp guy we were just warned about? He and some sort of monster just crashed out of the South Complex. Criminy, Harv, I think they're going to hit the Bayside retaining wall. Crunk. Sploosh. Still, in the midst of battle, the 2 combatants sink beneath the murky surface of Jamaica Bay. So that, minutes later, not a ripple, not even a bubble to show where they went down, and from what the crowd's muttering, they've been underwater nearly 5 minutes. This section of the bay is darker than the East River. Even with my spider sense, I might never find them. Speaking of spider sense, there's that warning tingle again, but nothing in the water causing it. The danger feel like it's coming from behind me. What the? Look out! How do you see us coming? He must have eyes in the back of his head. Not quite, bozo. Just an extrasensory warning system. But I've learned over the years not to mouth off about such things. Your secret weapons are best kept secret. Now what? Aroo, aroo, aroo. Someone must have pushed the panic button. Sounds like the sirens are going off all over the compound. I have no choice but to do a quick fade. Soon. Aroo, aroo, aroo. Huh. Melvin and his brain boys wasted no time in clearing out of here. Wish I could snoop around a little more, but there's no time. Security's evacuating the building, and it wouldn't do for Peter Parker to go unaccounted for in their sign-out sheets. Retrieving his automatic mini-camera from an overlooking air vent, the nimble wall crawler skitters through a maze of ductwork to a secluded spot above the suspended ceiling. There's my civvies, right where I left them. It'll take me a second for me to slip into them, and then I can exit through the roof below. Repeat, this is an emergency. Report to the nearest exit immediately. Shortly. Took your sweet time getting here, didn't you? Sorry, but I lost my way. Say, do you know when they'll be rescheduling interviews for the summer intern program? Click. Didn't really expect an answer. Any more than I'd really want to work for these creeps. At least now I have some photographic proof of some of the dirty tricks Brand has been up to. Somehow though, I suspect that creating their own superpowered industrial spies is just the tip of the iceberg. I just wish I knew how Will-o'-the-Wisp figures into all this. I may never find out now that he's gone. Such a stupid waste of life. And he bought it almost the same way the Black Cat did. An hour later, as Peter returns to his apartment, I'll flip on the radio after I develop my pictures. Maybe there's been some news about the tarantula and the wisp. Maybe they've managed to survive somehow. Yeah, maybe. Snap out of it, Parker. It's always darkest before the dawn. Parker! It just got darker. Good afternoon, Miss Muggins. Don't good afternoon me, young man. Your rent is overdue. I know, ma'am, and I'm truly sorry. I was paid yesterday, but I haven't gotten to the bank to cash the check yet. But I promise you, spare me the sob story, Parker. Just make sure the rent money is in my hands by tomorrow night. Oh, it will be. Scout's honor. Have a nice day? Boy, she's in a great mood. I hope Aunt May doesn't get all cranky after she becomes the landlady of her new senior citizens boarding house. That reminds me. I promised May that I'd loan her some cash to get the whole thing off the ground. A loan of that size will just about wipe out my savings. But money should be no problem once I develop these pics. I've got at least a dozen good shots of James Melvin and the other brand biggies hobnobbing with a tarantula, a known terrorist assassin. J. Jonah Jameson? had Ned Leeds working on some sort of expose involving the Brand Corporation for weeks. If he's not willing to cough up big bucks for these Daily Bugle exclusives, I'll eat my web shooters. But I don't believe it. Every last frame is fogged. The equipment in the lab must have putting out some sort of low-level radiation. My film is worthless. Shortly, in the top-floor executive offices of New York's leading daily newspaper. Phew, this is pretty plush. Is that mural a Leroy Newman original? Yes, Ned. I picked it out. Yes, Ned. I picked it out for Jonah when he was remodeling. Haven't you ever been up here before? Working reporters rarely get invited up to the publisher's office, Marla. If Jonah wasn't also editor-in-chief, I doubt that most of the staff would ever see him. Any idea what Mr. Jameson wanted us up? Why, Mr. Robeson? Mr. Jameson wanted us up here, Robbie? No, but since it's just we three, I guess it has to do with the Brand expose. Go to the head of the class, Robertson. Ray, that's Joe Robertson, my city editor. Ned Leeds, the reporter in charge of the story, and Dr. Marla Madison, my personal science advisor. Raymond, this is Raymond Horton of the U.S. Department of Justice. Dr. Madison, gentlemen. I take it we're not the only ones interested in the Brand Corporation, Mr. Royton? Far from it, Mr. Leeds. As I told Jonah earlier, Justice has been keeping quiet tabs on the activities of Brand and its parent conglomerate Roxxon Oil for some time. Before I begin, I must caution you that what I'm about to reveal must, for the time being, be held in the strictest confidence. We have quite a dossier on Brand and Roxxon. I'm afraid some of it, if not all, will sound like science fiction. The first incident dates back to a battle at Brand's Jamaica Queens branch, which pitted the creature called Orca against the Avengers. Roxxon's then-president, Hugh Jones, was allegedly involved, but no legal action could be taken. Next, there was an attempt on the life of the Avenger Hawkeye by a supposed Brand Corporation operative, codenamed Manticore. Brand denied any knowledge of the attack. Just a few months ago, a secret naval operation headed by Roxxon workers using Brand equipment to seize an island of the Miracle Man, Vibranium, was thwarted by Iron Man. In retaliation, the men in charge of the operation destroyed the island. But perhaps the strangest incidents took place at the government's energy research center, Project Pegasus. First, Deathlock, the cybernetic assassin, infiltrated the facility and actually wounded the Thing before he was stopped. This was followed almost immediately by an invasion of female commandos known as the Grapplers, who caused rampant destruction before they too were halted. The sabotage culminated in the appearance of a being who called himself the Nth Man. He actually tried to absorb the entire project. He might have succeeded were it not for a special security detail. In each instance, at Pegasus, Brand technology was believed to have been employed, just as Hugh Jones was thought to be behind a later incident at a Roxxon oil rig, in which the Thing and some friends were attacked by the Serpent Squad. The Thing, in fact, has helped uncover a number of covert activities. He recently aided a special agent on a raid on Metrobank branch, which unfortunately netted no solid evidence. And, mere months ago, Iron Man informed us of an encounter in near space with the alleged Roxxon employee who calls himself Centurion. Then, of course, there was Dr. Madison's abduction by Killer Shrike, and this latest incident involving an underworld informer, a Mr. Nose Norton. We believe that Mr. Norton intercepted some stolen Brand memoranda which could prove embarrassing to the company's management. He also intercepted a few bullets from Brand employee Private Eyes. He's now in a coma at Bellevue. That's why a federal marshal is standing guard at his hospital room. His knowledge could prove invaluable. You see, despite what we know, we have little in the way of proof. And we have no idea how far up the corporate ladder this corruption extends. With what we know now, the most we could do is convict a handful of underlings. You want to find out who's giving the orders and pulling the strings. Precisely. So, what's the next move? I'm afraid there is none for us. I see. You mean that all you can do is sit back and hope that they slip up. Well, maybe we can dig up the dirt when they do. That's not quite what he means, Leeds. Then what? Mr. Royton, the Justice Department has asked us to kill the expose. Yes, until we can find out all the evidence we need to indict. And you're going along with this? You're willing to suppress a story and let those brand leeches continue to? You think I want to? By Gadfried, Led, killing the story goes against everything I believe in as a newspaperman. But we have no choice. There's a good chance that an expose could wreck the government's case, give Brand, Roxanne, and whoever a chance to sweep the whole mess under the rug. And, in the end, the big fish would get away. Believe me, son, I wish there was another way. Anyway, to get the goods on those... Maybe there is, Jonah. Maybe there just is. Not long afterward, at the plush East Side townhouse of Brand's executive director, James Melvin, an uninvited guest comes calling. Sure, the Brand biggies probably would catch wind of a Daily Bugle expose, but I doubt they expect Spider-Man to play Sherlock Holmes. I've already found out plenty about Brand today. I figure if I play Sneaky Pete around a few private domiciles, I might just uncover evidence, something in the way of evidence. No one will even know I've been here, not with the old spider sense warning me whenever company's coming. Well, well, it's the Lord of the Manor himself. Or should I say Lard of the Manor? Fee, you! His cigars are even worse than Jonah's. From the slight list in his gait, I'd say that isn't his first scotch on the rocks of this evening. Looks like today's little fracas at the plant has Melly Belly bugged. He would have to plop down in his study. If there's anything to be found, it would be in there. Meep, meep, priority call. Priority call. Priority click. All right already. Video phone deployed. Incoming call from John T. Gimlin, President, Roxanne Oil, Security Scrambler on. Melvin, I just got off the line with the chairman of the board. What in blazes is going on? Your Queens plant evacuation is all over the evening news. I can explain everything, JT. You'd better, mister. Well, this sounds interesting. It was Will-o'-the-Wisp again, sir. He wrecked the new super operative experiment. But he won't be bothering us anymore. He was weakened by a magnopulsic gun and drowned in Jamaica Bay. You're certain of that, Melvin? Melvin? But the Brand executive does not reply. So drawn to his attention to the ball of light which seems to ooze but the Brand executive does not reply. So drawn is his attention to the ball of light which seems to ooze through the very substance of the far wall. The ball of light which quickly assumes the form of a man. Good evening, Mr. Melvin. We have some unfinished business to attend to. No, that's not possible. You drowned. Get back. I cannot drown, Melvin. I do not breathe. I am no longer quite so human. As for getting back, I think not. Put the gun down, Melvin. Be seated. Put gun down. Be seated. I can't move. What have you done to me? Don't worry. You're just in a mild hypnotic state. I could have entranced you completely, but I want you conscious. What do you want? Who are you? You still don't know? Look at me closely, Melvin. Don't you remember me? You don't recall how your drives for increased productivity nearly cost me my life? Son of a... You're Jarkson Arvad. Yes, Melvin. Your former head of electromagnetic research. Remember how you used to drop by the lab to cheer me on? I want the Magno chamber ready for testing by Monday, or you're out of a job, Arvad. Manny, remember how I put in so many long hours when you kept moving the deadlines up and up and up? I remember. Just as I remember how, half asleep, I tried to stop the gravimetric power surge from shattering the magno chamber. I failed. But you saw to it that I was well cared for. The accident altered his magnetic adhesion of its molecules, Mr. Melvin. He's slowly becoming immaterial. That's so. Well, learn what you can from him before he croaks. I did become immaterial, but not the way the doctors expected. Once they departed, so did I. They reported that I had disintegrated, but, as you can see, they were wrong. Eventually, I gained control over my newfound powers, but I had a very hard time doing that. And to think, none of it would have been possible, Melvin, without you. In many ways, you made me what I am today. What are you going to do to me? Why, Mr. Melvin, I've come to thank you. It was you who helped me gain the power to fly, to walk through walls. My strength staggers the imagination. And electricity? Why, a million volts could pass through me and I wouldn't feel a thing. So what if I'm no longer human? I have so much to thank you for. I just want to shake your hand. Give me your hand, Mr. Melvin. No, oh no, no. His will, snapped by the mesmeric glow, Melvin shakily extended his arm for the deadly handshake. Sorry, Wisp, can't let you do it. Spider-Man here? I just can't keep my nose out of other people's business. I heard everything. Still, you would deny me my revenge? Yes. If you kill Melvin, you become just what he is, or worse. I won't let you do that. And don't try to hypnotize me. I'm wise to your glowworm number. I don't want to harm you, Spider-Man, but Melvin must pay for what he's done to me. I agree, but this isn't the way. The law. The law? The law is a tool in the hands of men like Melvin. He has nothing to fear from the law. Must get away. That's where you're wrong. You are the one who's wrong, Spider-Man, if you think you can stop a foe who can become intangible. So I go right through you. So what? You can't lay a glove on little me either. You are swift, it is true, but I am the swifter. Maybe yes, maybe no. But if you make yourself solid enough to throw things, then you're also solid enough to grab. If I can just knock you out before you become immaterial, nuts. Give up, Spider-Man. You cannot defeat me. Wisp, I don't even want to fight you. But you don't give me any choice. I spared your life once. Yeah, I remember that night very well. You said that you weren't a murderer. I figure I owe it to you to keep you from making a liar of yourself. Further discussion is abruptly cut off. Ah! At the sound of the scream, both men turn to the open French doors. The Wisp is not the only one who survived drowning. The tarantula still lives. If his persistent state can truly be called living. Next, the final chapter, Death Knell.